Imagine raising money at a lower valuation next round and losing a huge chunk of your equity overnight. It's not magic, it's anti-dilution in action. In today's video, we're unpacking the terms that protect investors and sometimes punish founders. Let's make sure you know how to spot the difference. Hey everyone, I'm Corey, a startup lawyer helping entrepreneurs decode law, technology, and innovation. This is part 4 of our NVCA term sheet series, which will be a dedicated playlist that breaks down key clauses for venture financing. If you missed part 3 on charter provisions and shareholder rights, hit pause and check that video out first. Link below in the description. So here's what we're covering in this video. Full ratchet versus weighted average anti-dilution, how these terms affect future funding rounds, conversion triggers and mechanics, and best practices for founders and investors. What are anti-dilution protections? Anti-dilution protects investors if you raise at a lower valuation later, aka a down round. These clauses adjust investor equity to maintain their value. Let's look at the full ratchet. This resets the investor's price that they've invested into your company to match the lowest new price, no matter how small the down round. This is great for investors, but it can be brutal for founders, and it's not necessarily standard today. The only times you would typically see this sort of a provision in today's times would be if the investors had extreme leverage over the founders. The more common anti-dilution provision is called weighted average anti-dilution. Instead of a full reset, this calculates an average based on old versus new shares. Now there are 2 flavors here. The typical flavor you're going to see is broad-based, and this includes all shares and options. There's a more narrow base that focuses only on preferred stock. This is the market standard and fairer for all parties, and it means that all parties are sharing in the dilution. What's the impact on future funding? Full ratchet clauses can scare away new investors. Why? Well, they don't want to walk into a cap table where the founders are already burned out or overly diluted. Next, within the anti-dilution provision as a concept, there's also the concept of conversion mechanics, which will be when do preferred shares convert into common. Typically, preferred investors are going to have the choice to decide when to convert, but certain circumstances are going to make the conversion mandatory. For example, an IPO or major financing. This would be a mandatory conversion situation because in that case, let's say the company is going to go public, it's going to be required. An optional conversion could be the investor's choice at a strategic moment. And the classic example would be a strategic acquisition, and they run the math to see is it a better economic outcome for them to maintain their preferred shares or to convert into common and have a percentage of the company that way. Poorly written conversion terms, they can create confusion and legal wrangling. So let's recap. Full ratchet, it's maximum protection for investors, but it's also maximum dilution, and it can create a lot of interpersonal dynamics and scorn founders as well, as future investors could just not want to be a part of that situation. Next, you have weighted average. This is balanced and market standard. Under this approach, all parties on the cap table share in the dilution. Know your conversion triggers in any NVCA term sheet. What's mandatory versus what's optional. Finally, and importantly, you want to structure terms today that won't scare away future rounds. This is part 4 of our NVCA term sheet series. Make sure to watch the full playlist to keep your startup ready for every negotiation. Join me on the path to decoding law, technology, and innovation to grow your business. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time.